Teddy.
Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Prepping, some people think that's a negative connotation, but to me it means being prepared to take care of yourself on a day-to-day basis. Do you want to face an empty stomach, or do you want to be prepared to have the meals that you need to feed your family on a day-to-day basis going forward? And that's a great reason to have a few extra things in your pantry. It doesn't have to be for an apocalypse. We are preparing to feed our family on a day-to-day basis. When you look at it that way, it's just sensible to want to have a food stockpile. It doesn't have to be huge and enormous. It needs to be foods that you can take care of your family for a few days at a time. If you don't have anything, get something, and here are some great ideas. If you look over the actual emergency kits that you can buy, they're made up of foods that you add water, you do a little boiling, and they're like soups and stews and rice and potatoes, things like that. You don't have to buy an already made kit to make sure that you can make meals for your family and you don't face an empty stomach. An easy choice that makes a lot of food is something like the Bear Creek soup mixes. They come in all different varieties. You just add like 8 cups of water, you boil it for a while, and you have a nice filling meal. I even made a video about ways that you can bulk these up to make bigger, better, more filling meals. But if you just want to have something on hand, getting one of these Bear Creek soup mixes every time you go to the store could be a big difference. You can choose a variety that you like. For example, creamy potato, tortilla, chicken noodle. They come in about 8 different varieties. This is just an example. And I think the only one that requires something additional ingredient is chili. I think you need to add tomato paste or tomato sauce. So look on the back of the package when you're shopping in the store and check it out. It usually says just add water, boil it, let it simmer, and then you have your meal ready to eat. Wouldn't that be a simple thing for just a few dollars to be able to make a big pot of soup for your family with little to no effort? If you can't find the Bear Creek soups, look for Idaho, and these are also nice, filling, delicious, easy prepared soup mixes. And they come in not as many varieties, but they're still very good and easy to make as well. There's a loaded potato hearty soup, creamy potato hearty soup, and I don't know if there's other varieties, I don't remember. This is just what I have on hand for my prepper pantry and my food storage stockpile. Next, you can look at a variety of rice mixes. What about something like Zatarain's jambalaya or rice-a-roni, long grain wild rice? You can find some of the Knorr packages. They even come with power blends that have other ingredients than just rice and seasonings. This power blend is very good, and it has a vegetable medley inside. There's a lot of different varieties of just the Knorr rice size. You can find Mexican rice, red beans and rice. There's all different kinds of flavors. This is just an example. If you go in the store, you can look on the rice aisle and look them all over and see if there's something you like. Pick up one every time you go to the store. Pick up one of each and take them home and try them and see if you can't find that's a favorite. What I discovered that there are the Knorr pasta sides and the Knorr rice sides, and I discovered that the pasta sides are stored on the pasta aisle and the rice is on the rice aisle. Because I know I used to get confused and think, why do they only have this one? Why do they only have that one? And then one day I realized they store them on a different aisle and not just all together with the Knorr sides. So you can also go over to the pasta aisle and you can find creamy chicken, cheddar, and broccoli. And they also come in very many different varieties. This is just an example of some that are quite good. Now, a lot of these will require something like butter or milk, and you can leave it out if you don't have it, or maybe you'll have some of that in your refrigerator, or in your pantry you might choose to have some powdered butter or some powdered milk, even a can of milk, or a package of the shelf-stable milk. And then that gives you the opportunity to prepare it completely. Look at some of the other boxed meals that are simple to prepare, and you may even have some already in your pantry or have eaten them before. Look for things like the Kraft macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese is something I just won't buy the generic anymore. I have eaten enough of that that I know that if I'm going to make macaroni and cheese, I'm going to spend the extra and just have the Kraft. But that's up to you. Buy the one that you enjoy. Maybe you've seen the Kraft spaghetti dinners. They've been around since I was a child, and yeah, there they are again. So look for them if you haven't seen them in a few decades. You can also look for something like the Near East couscous and other kind of boxed meals. Look them over, and just like I said, find something that looks delicious to you. Take one home and try it. If you like it, you can always go back and get more. Don't buy a dozen of something you've never tried. You may find out you don't care for it at all. Other simple to prepare packaged foods, you can find some of the Vigo seasoned rice. You can find Betty Crocker muffin mixes. These just require water, and that is so simple to have on hand. And a little bit of baking, you can make muffins. I've discovered that the Betty Crocker muffin mixes are much harder to find these days, and the brands that they do have on this shelf need milk, and so to me that's not as convenient. To just be able to add water is the best in my opinion, because not only do they taste good, but then you don't have to worry about having additional ingredients, and that can really be a struggle. Then don't forget just Idahoan mashed potatoes. These are great. And the fewer ingredients in your mashed potatoes, the longer they're going to last. When you start getting ones that are flavored with butter or bacon or cheese, those ingredients contain a lot of oil and they're going to degrade, and that will cause your packages of food to become spoiled. So you can't store these foods forever. They'll have a few years you can have them in the pantry, and a lot of them will last a year or two past that date. But don't plan on setting these aside for 30 years, because these foods aren't designed to last that long. And even if we want them to, it isn't possible to just want things to last longer. It doesn't matter if you put it into a better container. It'll help it last a little longer. Foods like this are only going to last for a few years. If you want the longest lasting foods, then you want to get something that's the dry single ingredients like rice, beans, oatmeal, pasta. Those are the kind of foods that will last nearly forever. These need to be rotated every few years. Bear Creek also has a creamy pasta dish, which I think is really delicious. It makes way more than, say, one of the Knorr sides or the Pastaroni sides, and I think they're very good. So I recommend them if you want to try something new. They do cost more than the other brands, but they make a lot more food. They're very good, and so that's why they cost more. They make it probably twice as much. Then don't forget something as simple as a big old bag of pancake mix. You just add water. You can stir up as much as you want, flip it into a pan, and serve it up. You can have it with syrup, peanut butter, jelly, a sprinkle of cinnamon, from some fresh fruit. There's all types of ways that you can have pancakes for not a lot of money. So think about breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even a few snacks. How can you have food so that you don't face an empty stomach? Nobody in your family has to go without, because you have provided some easy to prepare foods and you have them in your pantry on hand, so that in an emergency, when you've run out of money, run out of time, the power is out, get out your camping stove. Well, there are a lot of reasons we want to have extra food on hand, and it could just be because the kids just told you, oh, there's a meeting at school in 35 minutes. You can get one of these at Cook in 10 minutes, get dinner on the table, and still maybe get to your meeting on time. Then think about the basic reasons. Why would you want to be a prepper? Why do you want to have food on hand? Why is it important to prepare? And it's so you don't face an empty stomach. You can provide for your family. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be the best meal you ever had. It just needs to be something so that you don't face an empty stomach. Leave it in the comments below. What are some other easy foods that you have thought about that you can have in your stockpile so that you don't face an empty stomach either? We like to share ideas with each other so we can learn more about how to be better prepared. I hope you'll share my video with someone you think might enjoy it, like my video, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.